Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on Across the Fence. I'm Joleil Whitney. This past year, we've done our research by visiting a few of UVM's premier research centers that provide students with hands-on educational opportunities. Our first roadshow was the home of the Morgan Horse. UVM has been the steward of this maiden Vermont breed for nearly 75 years. The Morgan Horse Farm is located in Weybridge. It's not only was it my first time visiting the farm, but I also got to ride in a horse-drawn carriage. Here's a look back at our day on the farm this spring when the willows were beginning to bloom. Located on 127 acres, the farm overlooks Otter Creek. Morgan horses have called this farm home since 1878. A stone's throw from downtown Middlebury, the farm manifests a timeless charm. Its rich history can be seen in the architecture of the main barn and felt in the footsteps of a newborn foal. And yet, this facility is far from the only draw for historians or horseback riders. UVM's Morgan Horse Farm is a vital research and education center. Since 1951, the University of Vermont has been the steward of this property and this breed. Margot Smithson grew up not far from the farm and has fond memories of first coming here as a child. Today, she serves as the farm's director. I asked her what makes this place extraordinary.
So I grew up in Middlebury, and I've been coming to the Morgan Horse Farm my whole life. It actually started as a volunteer at Middlebury Union High School. I came out here and started working with Steve Davis, who was the director then, and I worked here all throughout high school and college and did a little bit of everything. It's a place that's really connected to my story and my history. The most special part about this farm is its authenticity and its history, that this farm has been in continuous operation for 146 years.
Tell me about the characteristics that are distinct to Morgan horses.
The Morgan horse is the first breed of horse developed in the United States. It started here in Vermont, which we're very proud of, and it's our state animal. And we consider them to be the most stylish and versatile breed of horse.
And let's talk about how it all started. I believe it started with a horse named Figure, which is how this line kind of descended. Can you tell me that story?
Yeah, there's a great legend behind Figure, the first Morgan, who was born in 1789 in Springfield, Massachusetts. He famously outtrotted, outraced, and outpulled against any horse he was matched against, and he went on to be a breeding stallion with incredibly dominant genetics, and so he created a Morgan-type horse, which were little carbon copies of himself. And these horses were bred in Vermont and used widely to make, Vermont the agricultural state that it is. They plowed the fields, they helped clear the land, they trotted your family into town, and they were great riding horses. So that versatility was as valuable then as it is today.
The horse's name was Figure, but how did it get the Morgan name?
Figure's first owner was a man named Justin Morgan, who was out of Chelsea, Vermont. And so he became known as the Justin Morgan horse, which eventually became known as the Morgan horse.
What quite a legacy for the name.
Yes.
And you guys are obviously a big destination for people visiting Vermont or even from Vermont who are looking to see the Morgan Farm, but can you tell me the other programs that you guys do?
We are part of the College of Agricultural and Life Sciences at University of Vermont, and so we partner a lot with the animal science students who come down and learn applied horsemanship and equine science, and we are developing our educational programs with collaborators across campus, so looking at how we can be great stewards of all 200 acres here on the farm.
And in the horse world, a lot of it is about genetics and pedigree when it comes to breeding. Can you tell me about your breeding program?
Well, I'm sure you have a favorite kind of music, and I have a favorite kind of music. So no one breed or type of horse is going to appeal to everybody. But what our mission is we want to continue and improve the historic herd that is here, that's been in continuous breeding program since 1878. So it's the oldest breeding program of Morgan horses in the world. And so we want to maintain those historic and important bloodlines, and then we also want to improve them for the future. So we have a breed standard that we look for, which is certain characteristics that the horse has that we want them to produce in their offspring, which are going to make them great partners for people today and really help the breed improve over time. So we combine our breeding philosophy with our breeding standard to kind of go through UVM lines first as much as we can, and then do thoughtful outcrosses as needed to make sure we've got a nice marketable horse.
And we're going to dive into those UVM lines in a second, but can you tell me what a couple of those characteristics are?
What we love to see in a Morgan horse is a beautiful face, nice, large, expressive eyes, small, foxy ears. We want them to carry themselves very proudly and take pride in their expression. They're going to be short coupled. They're going to be between 14.2 and 15.3 hands tall. So a nice, small horse, and we want them to be sound, and their temperament is also incredibly important, especially with us, with students and the general public. We want horses that are suitable for amateurs and are nice to be around. And so all of those characteristics come together in what we consider the ideal Morgan.
So it's as much about looks as it is about personality, so to speak.
Yeah, we want them to also be functional. They've got to be athletic, they've got to be sound, they've got to be versatile, and we want them to be good representation of this historic breeding program.
You were talking about how all horses here start with the UVM name. Can you tell me the significance of that?
Before the University of Vermont became the steward of this site in 1951, it was the U.S. government Morgan Horse Farm from 1907 to 1951. And the Morgans under the U.S. program had a U.S. prefix for United States. And the UVM prefix is something that is a marker for these horses, that no matter where they go in the world, if you meet a horse with a UVM prefix, it came from this farm. And it's to show our connection to the university. And every year we name all of the foals with the same first letter. So this year it's a G year, so all of the foals will have UVM G names, which is really fun. And we take suggestions from the public all year for names in our gift shop.
And I believe you have a foal now. Can you tell us its name?
She actually doesn't have a name yet. We affectionately call her Ginger, but that's not her registered name. We wait until the end of the season because we do love to include those suggestions from the public. And then we'll name them about when they're weaned, which is usually October or November.
Great, so if anyone at home has any good ideas, then they should notice them.
And we have the last few years done a naming competition on Facebook where people can submit through a Facebook poll, and that's always really fun to have the public name the foals as well.
Can every horse coming out of this farm be traced back to the first Justin Morgan horse?
They can. It's really amazing. So if you go back on the pedigrees of all of our horses, they are all descendants of the same horses that were here in 1878 when the barn was built. And they also all can be traced back to Figure or Justin Morgan, that first Morgan. And a lot of that is thanks to the Morgan Horse Register, which was published by Joseph Patel, who was the original proprietor of the barn here in the breeding program. It was thanks to him that we started in 1878, so the legacy is pretty remarkable here.
And it's not just horses getting trained on the farm, of course. You work with apprentices both here in Vermont or from out of the state. Can you tell us about that apprenticeship program?
Yeah, the apprenticeship program started in the 1970s, and it is a way for people who are looking to advance their horsemanship experience to have a really powerful, immersive experience. So they live here on the farm for the duration of a year. They learn all aspects of what it takes to operate a breeding and training farm of this size. So from training, reproduction, young horse handling, equine management, and husbandry. So it's a great program for people looking to advance their equine skills. We recommend a duration of a year for the apprenticeship so that they can be here for breeding and help with the actual making of the foal, and then they monitor the broodmare for her whole gestation, which is about 11 months, and then they get to be here when that baby is born. So they can breed the mare and then be here when the baby is born, and that's a really wonderful cycle for them. And in the interim, they are learning that young horse handling, and they can be the first one to ride a horse, the first one to hitch them up, and they work alongside our equine manager, Jamie McGuire, to do that, and it's really a great experience. She's done it a bunch of times.
So she was actually named in like a Facebook naming contest, UVM Epiphany, but I gave her nickname Pip. So.
Riley Du Bois is a senior apprentice at the farm. Like Margot, she grew up not too far from here.
Usually we start with chores and feeding, and then we move right into working horses. So we'll do demonstrations, lessons from Jamie, and then working horses on our own. So riding, driving, lunging, and learning all the different kinds of techniques we use. I've been here for a while, so there's some foals that I was, met them the day where they were born, and now I've been a big part of their training and stuff, which is really cool. Like Beloved there, I was the first person to ride her, so that was a really fun experience, and working her through that.
When do you guys usually do that? We'll wait.
The Morgan Horse Farm serves as a laboratory for UVM's College of Agriculture and Life Sciences. Sangavi Muthuswamy is a senior in UVM's Animal Science program and a Morgan Horse Farm intern. While she doesn't live on site like the apprentices, her responsibilities are similar.
Morgan horses are not like any other horse that I work with. I grew up riding, but I grew up riding at like various show barns and lesson barns with a lot of warm bloods and like lesson ponies. I didn't actually know much about the Morgan Horse Farm. When I came here, the first thing that drew my attention to UVM was the CALS program. The way that they described the animal science program is what really drew me to this place. And I spend a lot of my time at the UVM Horse Barn. And then when I was aware of this internship, I was like, wow, it's like another opportunity to work with horses. Like, I can't say no to this. I think I've learned a lot from this internship. I don't know if I can say this, but probably more than most of my other lectures.
Good job.
It's not every across the fence I get to ride off into the sunset, so to speak, but to borrow another phrase, when in Weybridge. From our crew out on location here on Morgan Horse Farm, I'm Joleil Whitney. Have a good one.